Again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hid in a field, the which when a man had found he hideth. And for joy he therewith goeth and selleth all that he had, and buyeth the field. Matthew 13, verse 44. So what's the deal with this parable? Well, in ancient times, it was actually quite common for people to hide their treasures in the ground. You see, back then, theft and robbery were everyday problems. And during times of political instability, the rich would often be taxed heavily. On top of that, or to top it off, there was always the threat of invasion by marauding armies. To protect their wealth, many would bury it, thinking it was the safest option. But were they right? Well, sometimes those treasures were forgotten. The owners might die, be imprisoned, or even exiled, leaving their wealth behind for anyone lucky enough to stumble upon it. In fact, during Jesus' time, it was actually quite common to come across buried coins or jewelry in neglected lands. So now, imagine with me a farmer leasing a plot of land. He starts to plow. Then he unexpectedly uncovers hidden treasures. He knows he's just hit the jackpot. He quickly hides it again. And he goes home. What does he do next? He sells everything he owns to buy the land containing the treasure. Now, to his friends and family, they think he is crazy. What kind of decision is this? After all, they just saw a barren piece of land, neglected. Nothing special about it, but the man knew exactly what he was doing. Once he bought the land, he would secure the treasure for himself and even his family and friends who mocked him. Christ often used parables like this to convey important spiritual lessons. In fact, the word parable comes from the Greek word parabole, which means a story with a lesson. It's basically a simple, relatable story that helps us to understand deeper truths. But why did Jesus use parables? Well, there are a few reasons why. Firstly, accessibility. Jesus wanted everyone to understand his message by using everyday situations like farming, fishing, or managing money. People from all walks of life could grasp the lessons he was teaching. One author put it this way: the unknown was illustrated by the known. Divine truths were explained by everyday things that people could relate to. Secondly, it helped him to avoid constant scrutiny from the religious leaders, like the Pharisees, who often were looking for things to criticize him about. And lastly, parables piqued people's curiosity. They made people think, reflect, and dig deeper into the meaning behind the stories which he would be sharing. Now, let's break down the deeper meaning of the parable of the hidden treasure. This story represents the incredible value of the heavenly treasure, meaning the knowledge of God's truth and of eternal life offered through Jesus. The man who finds the treasure is so overjoyed that he's willing to sell everything he owns to get the piece of land. That's the key point. You need to be willing to give up everything to secure what's truly valuable. In the same way, the treasure of God's kingdom is worth more than anything we could ever possess. Once we recognize its value, no labor is too great, no sacrifice too much to gain the treasures of truth. The man in the story was ready to part with everything. What? His comfort? His security? His possessions? Just to get the field with the treasure. And that's the takeaway for us. The message of the parable is about recognizing the immeasurable value of a relationship with God and of the truth of His Word. The question is, do you have that? The joy that comes with discovering something so precious that we are willing to give up anything to hold on to it. So, what do you value? What do you seek after? Said Christ, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, and all these other things will be added unto you. It's a promise, and it is sure. Thank you so much for joining us on our first episode of Decoding the Parables of Jesus. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel if you have not. God bless you.